Oh my goodness.
We're here.
Live from an abandoned motel on Colfax, you're listening to Downshift with your hosts Ryan and Jason. This is the Colorado Cars and Coffee Podcast by car enthusiasts for car enthusiasts. Clutch in, gear down, and let's start the show.
All right, we're live.
It sounds so professional. That might be the most professional part of this entire episode.
Likely will be.
On that note, just to give
Welcome.
you the shout out, welcome everyone. Downshift's first ever podcast. Here, right there. Boom. We got plenty of fun buttons to push, all kinds of things, and we're probably going to step on each other's toes doing it.
We might be pushing each other's buttons before the night is over.
But here we are.
But
Welcome
we're here.
to an hour worth of us figuring out how this all works.
Yep, that's right. I'm Jason. That's Ryan. And you heard the voice of the great Bill Levasseur giving us a very polished and professional intro to the show. Bill is actually quite a car enthusiast and Porsche aficionado. So we're actually planning to have him on the show in the not too distant future to talk about cars and also his life as a actor, commercial actor, sound professional, VO artist. So all that to come in a future episode.
But we will give you this quick blip. Bill's I forget what it's called. It's not his calling card. It's in there. His comp card. It's his website. You can go. It's very simple too. It's his name, as you can see hiding up here somewhere. BillLevasseur.com. Check him out. If you didn't know, he was the Coors guy for a little while. Done lots of TV, all kinds of hosting stuff, and he was kind enough to set us up with a wonderful intro that we are going to utilize repeatedly.
That's it. He has a voice for radio and a face for television.
Unlike the two of us.
Maybe if you put us together.
Yeah, something would work out. Which one's got the good voice and which one's the handsome one then?
I don't know. You have the hair.
I'll take it. All right. Well,
let's roll. Yeah, let's get into our discussion, our topics of discussion. First, let's mention all of the places. Let's talk about all the places that you can find Colorado Cars and Coffee and Shift Magazine. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. That's 2 channels on YouTube. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us with our newsletter, our bi-weekly newsletter, which you have to sign up to
which
receive.
we create.
which we are the co-editors of. You can also go and read the latest issue of Shift Colorado magazine on the website. There's LinkedIn and there's Threads, which I don't know how that works, but
we even have a Threads, and I think it's got a couple posts.
All right, we'll go with that.
All right, yeah, we are reaching out all over social media networks and digital land, including the Downshift podcast. Again, our first one ever, and let's struggle through explaining a little bit about what this is.
That's right. Yeah, this is the latest addition to the empire which Steve Clark has built. Hi, Steve. Thank you for setting us up with this. Really, this is an opportunity for Ryan and I to connect with our audience a little bit more. Like we said, we are the co-editors of the bi-weekly newsletter for Colorado Cars and Coffee. We have done some writing for Shift. We did the Shift Summer Event Guide last year, and I think we'll be doing that again this year. That will be our project. We are car enthusiasts with varying degrees of obsession and different types of vehicles that we're addicted to and interested in. But at the end of the day, we love cars. We love talking about cars. We wanted to, I think for a long time, Ryan, we were talking about doing a second newsletter actually. And I think the more we talked about it, the more we kept coming back to like, well, that would be a good podcast or a YouTube channel, right? Like it kept, that's where it sort of kept coming back to. in our discussion. So this is it. We're making it happen. We're connecting with the audience. We're going to share some behind the scenes stuff from the Shift magazine. We'll have some of the editors and writers and photographers on in future episodes. We're going to do coverage of events, talk about deep dives, and talk about different events that are going on, since that's really the core of what the newsletter is. The raison d'etre for what we do with the newsletter is really to disseminate and distribute and advertise all of the great events that are going on. So getting more in depth into some you might not know if you want to go to an event or not until you actually show up, and then maybe you drove an hour out of your way and the event wasn't what you thought it would be, or it was you didn't fit in right. But so we want to explain some of these events in more detail, give you guys more of an inside view into what you can expect when you go to some of these events. And we'll also talk about things like with some of the market report and garage report stuff that I do in the newsletter. We can get into some more detail about some of that stuff that I write about as well.
And all kinds of general Colorado automotive based debauchery, as well as some worldwide items. We have you might see me looking over here and looking over here. I've got like a command station going on here, trying to make sure that we're working. Steve says he can see us on YouTube. I checked, Jason. I know you're on a laptop, so you don't have the capabilities that I do here.
Yes.
But we are, in fact, live on Facebook, live on YouTube. A couple comments already.
Oh, yes.
I'll be doing this left and right, looking at my notes, trying to keep up with any chat. If anybody's watching and you want to drop a hello,
yep,
maybe we'll shout you out. If you've got a question, do that as well.
Yeah, I see hello from Steve, from Josh Monday, and FPBB Randon 1.
And not the smoothest of transitions, but let's get right into how you can primarily contact us outside of when we're live. Currently, you can see us on YouTube and Facebook. Drop comments there. However, if you've got anything you'd like for us to cover, you feel like you would be a great guest, or you would like for us to highlight an event, something automotive, primarily Colorado, but we can do worldwide, whatever, you can reach us at downshift@coloradocarsandcoffee.com. It's a mouthful and it's kind of a long email, but it's simple. downshift@coloradocarsandcoffee.com. We'll be posting that all over our socials. We already have, in fact, multiple times. But here we are telling you about it live. And it was your idea, Jason, so I'll let you now transition that into the piece that we will be utilizing on air to discuss what has been sent into that catch-all email.
That's right. Yeah, thanks. That's a good transition, Ryan. That was very smooth. Yeah, so a lot of publications like ours, we like to receive audience feedback, and a lot of times that comes in the form of letters to the editors. And since we are an automotive themed publication of automotive enthusiasts, we're calling this letters to the carburetors, because old cars have carburetors. Before there were fuel injection, they were carbureted.
You may not know.
And that's a great play on words. And that's the kind of intelligent, witty banter you can expect from us in the future.
Yeah. And it probably won't get any better.
That's probably
in all honesty.
Right. That could be the highlight of this entire show. So you can stop watching right now, and we'll go out on a high note. No, you should keep watching, because there's a lot more great stuff to come. We actually did get a few comments already, just putting this out there. If we want to read out, I think we got some comments on socials. I know we got one on our email.
You've been paying far more attention to that than I have, apparently. So if you want to dig into that.
Oh, yeah. We got an email from one Kevin Duncan, and he said, "Hi, I am Kevin Duncan. I'm the chairperson of next year's Show Us Your Chevy show in
Yes.
Longmont on May 18th. The show is hosted by Top of the Rockies Corvette Association. This will be our 30th annual show. The show is open to any Chevrolet, no electric, but hybrids are okay." So I'm guessing that means, isn't the new Corvette, isn't the C8 Corvette, does that have a hybrid powertrain assist?
I don't know. I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
No, I'm thinking I guess the Corvette E-Ray. Might be the Corvette E-Ray. If there are any Corvette people out there, let me know. I'm not the best versed in Corvettes, but the new C8 is very cool. I'm not sure if it has a hybrid assist or not, but that's what it is. Hybrid's okay, no electrics, and we usually have a great variety of cars. Last year we had well over 200 cars, trucks, and vans in attendance. He would love to join us on the show sometime and talk about the event and answer any questions about that event. That sounds pretty cool to me. I know you are a fan of Chevy.
I am a Chevy guy. I remember getting this email, and I need to actually respond still. I don't think anyone's reached out to you, sir. So our apologies on that one, but we would love to talk to you. I'm a huge Chevrolet Beretta enthusiast. I also have an old 86 convertible Cavalier. So I'm, for lack of a better term, I'm a Chevy guy, drive other vehicles. I'm not trying to be part of the war, the war of brands, but I am a Chevy guy, and I would love to talk to you about getting you on the show and me being at your car show.
Yes, with perhaps one of your many. And to say that you're a Beretta collector is probably underselling it. I would say, how would you describe your level of Beretta obsession, Ryan, in your own words?
I don't know. It's an awkwardly strange obsession. I bought one in 2004, rapidly fell in love with them, and now I own 8, I think. And always looking for more.
But at this point in time, you have 8. What was there a point in time when you had like more than 10 Berettas? Like running, driving?
Maybe 10 might have been the record.
Okay.
I know the record for automobiles at my home is 11, and that's what I'm at right now. Maybe one more than that. I don't know. I won't put you through the habit of me counting here, but yes, most definitely a Chevy guy. And I can actually transition that a little bit into welcoming our first ever guest. Also, our episode sponsor, Dave Lowry and Lowry Insurance.
Boom.
Just hello, like everybody.
That, Dave. Welcome. Nice to hear you. It works.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No, here we're gonna do the cheesy ticker for just a second. Check this out.
And we're gonna say thank you, because without great sponsors like you, none of this would be possible. So,
well, you're very welcome. Proud to be a supporter of it, and awesome what you guys are doing. You guys put a lot of effort in the magazine, into this now. I mean, it's really cool to see you guys expanding more and more every year.
Yeah, well, man, we're full of segues. You, sir, have been in business since 1997, correct?
Correct. Yeah, about 30 years.
I got a two-parter for you. How long have you been involved in the Colorado automotive scene in general? And then I'm told that you go way back with Colorado Cars and Coffee. Can you speak a little to when you got involved with that whole organization and what it is that you just generally do?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of the Colorado car scene, I mean, ever since I was young, my dad was into cars. I grew up into cars, was born in Colorado, moved away, and then came back in 94. So my entire high school career, post high school, I mean, all that has just been the Colorado car scene itself, hanging at gas stations. Anyone in my scene back then, the Texaco days at Quebec and C470, it's everybody met and just hung out. And I mean, it was awesome. So kind of from ever there, and then to Colorado Cars and Coffee more specifically, about 4 or 5 years now, I want to say, in terms of official sponsorship. So quite a long time. It's been a lot of fun. Was excited when Steve invited me to come on board. Proud to be a sponsor. It's a great group full of awesome people, awesome organizations, just doing a lot of good stuff across the board for the community.
Great. Yeah. Thank you, Dave. So we all know that you need insurance, right? We know that you can't really drive without insurance. It's not recommended, at least. But I think what also sets you apart is you're a Hagerty affiliate, correct? Am I correct in saying that you're a local affiliate with for Hagerty?
That is correct. I've been partnered with them for about 7 years directly now. I'm one of their top brokers in the entire nation, top 20 in the entire nation of all Hagerty brokers. So
wow.
I do a ton with them. I have a direct underwriter. It's fantastic. It's a great company. As an insurance person, that's all I've done all my life. It takes a lot of pressure off me coming from the car world as a car guy and trying to help car people. Before Hagerty, insurance doesn't really understand car people and our ticks and everything that we have. Hagerty, if you call them, even their 800 number, they're all car people through and through. You don't have to explain. You start just listing stuff and they already know what you're talking about. It's fantastic. And you know, when a claim happens, it's going to be handled right. There's no more. And again, as a car person, the promise we make to the car people, it's very important that you deliver on that as best you can. And Hagerty really takes as much guesswork out of that promise as we can, agreed value up front. So at claim time, there are no questions, no additional documentation, anything like that. They have chair salvage, so you really like your car. Again, Ryan, Berettas, right? You have chair salvage. Let's say you have them insured for $10,000 with the chair salvage. You get the full $10,000 and you get to keep the car. So now you get to pull all the good parts off. You can rebuild that car and you don't have to take the hit in the value. And you get a jump start on that next project. Or again, if you're an enthusiast of one brand, Volkswagens, Miatas, Hondas, all that stuff, all those parts come right back off and go on to the next project. So it really allows you to do that. So it's just awesome. As a car guy, it's cool. Makes my drive a lot easier and less stress, which is cool.
No, and I've been under Hagerty before. The process to get quoted, to sign up for the insurance, the coverage, amazing. And you nailed it on the head when you say that they're car people, so they get it. You know, like, oh no, yeah, my old '89 Beretta just got T-boned. Yeah, well, that one side skirt's bad, but all the rest of the body kit and all that stuff you cannot get. You can't get it, you know? So yeah, I want to take all those parts and throw them onto another one because
to a more mainstream commercial insurance, to a more mainstream insurance company, they would just look at that and say, oh, that's an old Chevy, like that's a 1995 Chevy, and they wouldn't care that it's an enthusiast car and that there's a community of people, like yourself, Ryan, who actually collect those cars and restore them and value them and, take them to shows, right? You've won some, one of your cars, I think, has won some Adams Polish Paint Quality Award, right? For paint perfection.
Some accolades. And that's why I carry high insurance, because
it's
the garage queen. So
there you go.
And you never know if the garage is even just going to collapse on the damn car.
Totally.
So you got to have it covered, right?
Seen a lot of stuff happen, a lot of crazy stuff. It doesn't happen to everybody, but when it's your number that gets called, it sucks when those weird things happen.
That's an awesome one. Strangest claim you've ever seen?
Man. I mean, kind of even on my own world. I got a call in the middle of the night one night about 3 years ago. It was about 3 a.m. Castle Rock police called me. They said, hey, you need to come down to the office here. Someone hit your building. If you've ever been to my office, my old office at least, it was about 30 yards off the street and on a 25-mile-an-hour road. Like, I'm like, how does even anyone, like, did someone like pull in too far in the parking spot and just kind of bump the building and whatever? And I'm not even the owner. Like, I'm just renting the space. So why are you calling me? So I'm kind of groggy. I'm driving down there. I'm thinking I'm going to get scammed or something. I'm like, I didn't even ask for like cop numbers or anything like that. Like, what if someone's just like got my number from somewhere trying to drag me out in the middle of the night? Anyway, get down there and sure enough, there's lights everywhere, fire truck, cops everywhere, and a car had driven through the entire office building. So they weren't joking when they said someone hit the building. They must have passed out and then hit the gas and came straight on through. And then it was a Tacoma, 2002 Tacoma or something. They backed out and tried to take off. But yeah, came smashing through the office in the middle of the night, and I got to deal with that. So mayhem happens to everybody, even myself.
This is a seemingly common occurrence in Colorado. I feel like I see this in the headlines fairly regularly, that there are vehicles that impact buildings. And I moved here from New York about 6 years ago, and I don't remember this being much of a thing in the past, but it seems that here this is quite a common occurrence.
It's like a pawn shop at the insurance agency. You never know what story's going to walk through the door, what happens. I mean, people, you just go, how did you even, like, the building doesn't move. It's it's stationary and hard to miss. So what are you doing?
Well, I'm gonna show off your website real quick.
Cool.
I don't know what.
Hopefully it looks okay.
Yeah. Well, hey, I don't know what it's gonna do.
But you've never had
layout's going here, but we'll figure it out.
You've never had a crazy claim like, oh, some
There we go.
kids broke into my garage and they did some Jello wrestling in my convertible or something, something crazy like that.
Man, I'd have to do something. It's hard to say after 20 some years. I would just say there's nothing that would shock me at this point of anything anything and everything. I go, it can happen. As far-fetched it is, yeah, it's possible. And it's never a dull moment. That's for sure. I've a lot of blood-filled cars just from crazy stuff happening in cars. We cover that under comprehensive. Rodents, bears attacking cars, getting into cars, all that kind of standard stuff. I guess standard. It's cool though. It's fun. You get to help people through a lot of stuff. You get to meet a lot of people. You get to live their lives with them, next to them.
Yeah, and sometimes you wish maybe you hadn't lived that close. but
I did have a house in the Marshall Fire.
Oh, jeez. Well, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay.
But here, Ryan pulled up your website and a beautiful shot of that Camaro in that awesome livery.
Yes,
thank you.
Those that I know it's tiny on my screen. I don't know what it looks like where you're watching, but it's super easy. LowryInsuranceAgency.com. You can get here. Everything you need to speak to Dave, to get a quote, even have any simple questions answered is all here. You can visit him in person in Castle Rock as well. And we're going to
run into his building.
Yeah, please don't. If you do, maybe we'll have you on the show, but in a photo of you in the building. You'll be the next Subaru guy returning his car that's been going around the internet lately. If you haven't seen it,
make sure your property damage is in a good spot first before you do that, please.
We are going to wrap up with you here, Dave. If you have anything else you wanted to spit out while you've got an audience, please feel free. But I also want to transition from your give you a bragging moment as we bid you farewell. We all know the Wonder Bread car. Let's see if this will. I'm hoping this will pop open into that same window. No, but if you didn't know, is it not? Oh, here. Give me a second. But hey, Dave,
vamp a little bit about the Wonder Bread car.
Speak your mind and let us know. I'm bringing. I'm good. In seconds, I'll have the photo up.
You're doing great, man.
What's the backstory on that vehicle?
Yeah, so it's a 2015 Z28. They only made 1,800 of them from 2014 and 15. It's got an LS7. It's got spool suspension, carbon ceramic brakes, but it was white. It's kind of the most boring car ever. It's a 5th gen white Camaro, about a billion of them on the road. So I said, how do I make this thing do something else? Fortunately, I reached out to Brody and his boys over at Deco Tinting and PPF, and we got to work on this Wonder Bread wrap because Talladega Nights is a lot of fun. Fun, makes me laugh a lot. So
excellent movie.
We kind of morphed it into this. It makes a lot of fun to drive. I get a lot of comments. My kid always asks me, Dad, why are they yelling at you? What are they saying? Shake and bake. You pay first or last. So she's into it.
Well,
yeah,
it's drawn enough attention that it has become a museum piece. Look at that. You want to tell us how you got into this?
So that is currently sitting over at Vehicle Vault in Parker. So if you have a chance, head on over. They got a ton of cool cars. Right now, they got the exhibition going on for Venture into the Vault. So they have a contest. You put your picture out there, you upload it, and then everybody votes. Social media does, and 5 winners get to take their car in and showcase it for about a month or so. So I was fortunate enough to win. Thanks to all the voters out there. Thank you everybody that did put a vote in, and got to sit there. It's there till January 3rd. So only a couple more days, I know, Friday. But definitely head on over. They got some really sweet cars. If you've never been there, you're missing out. Go over and check it out.
Well,
There you go.
just like a classic car guy, this isn't your only vehicle. And I'm not even sure I knew you owned this one, but it was also featured in Vehicle Vault.
The Cyclone.
That is correct. I had a Cyclone, and that was about 3 or 4 years ago. Same thing. And my Camaro is actually sitting next to that same Supra this year, so he won again as well. So congrats to him.
I need to get in on this because I think I got a Chevy some people need to see.
Yes.
That's it, man.
That's super cool. Oh, and you're you're one of the main sponsors and organizers of the Castle Rock Cars and Coffee, correct?
Correct. So we meet second Sunday of every month down here in Castle Rock. Pretty low key, coffee, scones, just chill, all that. So yeah, come on out. Yeah, love to see you out there.
I made it out to the Chevy Day. If you recall,
summer.
and yeah, it's quite a chill hangout. The coffee, there's coffee provided by 100 Octane.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The scones and delicious treats from local vendors that Dave has partnered with, and just a good time, a parking lot party worth of a walk and having a look at some people's great cars.
Yeah, and I think even though it was Chevy Day this summer, because actually you and I were both there that day together. I mean, not together. You have a girlfriend and I have a wife, but no, we both showed up there. I think Steve and Terry were also there as well. And even though it was Chevy Day, there was a lot of other cool stuff too. There were some cool Porsches. There were some JDM cars that were very interesting as well, and all that sort of thing. But yeah, there were some great Corvettes, some great Camaros, some great trucks. Obviously, the Cyclone, I believe, was there. And then what's the other one? There was the Cyclone, and then what was the other?
Typhoon.
Typhoon. Yeah, I think I remember the Typhoon was there. So yeah, very, very cool stuff to see.
Yeah, we try to leave it pretty open. We do theme days to kind of draw out some of those specialty cars maybe that don't always come out. And then again, all cars are welcome every time. We don't, any kind of car, doesn't matter, even basic, whatever, just come on out. It's about the people hanging out. And this year we're doing some themed events again. So CastleRockCarsAndCoffee.com, you can click on there too and see what events are coming this upcoming year. We'll get those loaded up next week there as well.
Cool.
You also have a Facebook group where you put all these events, and that's where I steal those events to share them in our newsletter and on the Colorado Cars and Coffee Facebook group. So the info is out there, folks. If you don't know, now you know. And to rhyme it out, sorry, Dave, time to go.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate this. Congratulations on the podcast. Nice work.
No,
Thanks
thank you
so
very
much.
much for not only being a quality insurance agent for Colorado drivers, a general great automotive community dude, but the sponsor of the first ever Colorado Cars and Coffee Downshift podcast, and a longtime supporter of the Colorado Cars and Coffee community.
Whoa!
Yay!
Right.
I got it all out.
Well, happy New Year's, everybody, to the whole Colorado Cars and Coffee scene, and you guys, and have a great evening.
And you as well, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Dave.
thank you. Later, guys.
Later. Yep. That was great. Yeah, maybe Dave will, if our show doesn't get canceled, maybe Dave will even sponsor a future episode as well.
I bet he would be willing to do that, because I pretty much came to him at the 11th hour and said, "Hey, man, you want to do something with us?" So, in the future, we hope to be well more prepared for all sorts of things, including having sponsors on. I do know that he expressed interest in some sort of giveaway. It just didn't come to fruition. So we'll be doing that later on.
Maybe some merch, maybe some a free insurance policy would probably.
Yeah, I don't know how well that works out.
So maybe merch. We'll set the bar at merch. But
That'll work.
But actually, that last topic of conversation that we were on, discussing Castle Rock Cars and Coffee, and how he's actually saying that their calendar of events for this year will get posted up within the next week. That is actually a very good segue into the next thing that I think we wanted to talk about, which is what are the events that we're super excited about coming up in 2025? Like, what are some of the, there is a lot going on, especially during the summer. Obviously, we had mentioned earlier the summer events guide that Shift Magazine publishes, and that is the comprehensive resource for all of the highlights, the top events of the summer. There are obviously more events than what we can cover in the summer event guide, which is why we have the newsletter and all of our socials. But just on a personal level, Ryan, like, what are some of the events that you're looking forward to most coming up here in 2025?
That's a good question, because frankly, I don't follow too many events. One, I gotta say, I need to make it to more Cars and Coffee events. I've been to a small amount, like I'm frankly embarrassed to say, but I want to get out to some of our bigger ones. I know I did Castle Rock on their Chevy themed day because we showed up in 3 different Chevys, me, girlfriend, and a friend and I.
Yeah.
I want to get out to like Longmont Cars and Coffee, like out north. I hear those are big. I would love to take some rides out and have some conversations with some people about that. We mentioned it. I forget the gentleman's name, but we mentioned him earlier. He emailed about the all Chevy show.
Yep, Kevin Duncan, show us your Chevys in Longmont, May 18th.
Hey, in Longmont, see, telling you they're up north. I'm interested in knowing more about that, so we're gonna talk to him behind the scenes, see what's going on with that. Again, I've got multiple Chevys, so a Chevy show is right up my alley. The only other thing I think I see it on the list that you put together, sir, on our cheat sheet here. The Fat Ice Race in Aspen. If that comes back around and people are allowed to purchase tickets to attend, that would probably be amazing. Anything ice racing, like, I'm a huge sucker for. And we, about 2 hours ago today's newsletter, the 100th issue of the newsletter, by the way, that has been around for nearly 4 years. Ooh. The 100th issue on the first day of the new year. I'm super excited about that.
Same.
That went out, and it's got, obviously, it's got everything that the newsletter has: standard events list. So there's some sponsor bits in there, and racing schedules. It has been pretty much empty for the last month or so, but we've got events coming up this month, ice racing events from 2 different entities. So if you're not subbed to the newsletter, stay tuned. We'll let you know how to do that. We'll drop comments on where these streams are live and whatnot to make sure you get into that. I need to get on the ice again. It's been a long time.
Was that
unfortunately in a Beretta? Well, now we have Arcticana, which is a new group. They've been around for a couple of years. I don't want to say anything too wrong. I know they're in their infancy, and I can get out and run with them. Sadly, my these Chevy Berettas are only front wheel drive, and anything that the Our Gang ice racing group does on Georgetown Lake, you have to have all-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. So
right.
I could take my 4Runner out, but it's not nearly as fun until I get the traction control kill switch in there. Then I'll probably be up there all the time.
And that would probably be a little wobbly too, right? The 4Runner.
I can handle it. I've rally crossed it before.
Oh, really?
Knowing good and well that I couldn't give it a full 10. It needed to be like a 6 or a 7, or I'm gonna roll it over.
Yeah. I think you would probably, some sort of a Subaru WRX or some sort of an Audi, S4, something of that nature would probably be an ideal ice racing car, because you've got the all-wheel drive and you've got a little bit of power under the hood. Hopefully a manual transmission, and that would be the most fun. But yeah, that's actually interesting. I've never experienced ice racing before. I think it's something that I need to experience. I think it would be, I don't have a vehicle that would be ideally set up for it. So I'd probably ride with somebody or drive somebody else's vehicle for the first couple times, just to learn the fundamentals of ice racing, since it's a different take on car control, right? It's driving on pavement. The fat ice race in Aspen, I think that generated a lot of controversy last year because of the absurd ticket prices. And I think the only way that it was being sold was with, or not the only way that it was being sold, but you could purchase like a whole inclusive package with a hotel stay and all that. And, you know, of course, in Aspen, you're not really looking at a Best Western or something like that. You're looking at the Little Nell and, you know, rooms that are $1,200 a night, you know, something of that nature. So I think the general vibe last year was that it was, from everything that we understood, we saw the pictures. And I think some folks from Shift even managed to surreptitiously observe and photograph some of the racing. And by all accounts, it was very cool, right? It's vintage cars, vintage sports cars racing on the ice. This is something that Ferdy Porsche, who's one of the Porsche family, I think the grandson or the great grandson of Dr. Ferdinand Porsche. He's the organizer, him and some of his friends, and they've been doing this for many years in Austria, in this lake town, resort town in Austria on a frozen lake. So they've been doing that there. And yeah, it's cool vintage sports cars and race cars, rare exotic stuff that you get to see racing on the ice. And to me, that sounds very cool. I just think that they should offer certain tiers of packages that make it more inclusive. And I get it that it's Aspen, right? So there's a limit to how low you could price something like that. It's not, you know, it's not going to be for everybody, but at least make it so that it's a little bit more accessible. So I haven't seen any, there are no updates currently posted. They haven't posted anything about what's happening for 2025. I think it's all extremely weather dependent, obviously, right? As with all ice racing, like with our gang and Arcticana, and I think the BMW, the Rocky Mountain Car Club, BMW Car Club, they do some ice racing, I believe. I think with all of that type of stuff, the caveat is it's weather dependent, because if there's no ice or the ice isn't thick enough, obviously there's no surface to race on. So we have to monitor the conditions and monitor their websites and social media for if those events are actually happening or if they're getting postponed or canceled. But yeah, I would love to check out the Aspen Fat Ice Race if that happens again, and if there's a somewhat more accessible, you know, and it's like, oh, Christmas just happened and everybody probably has a little bit of Christmas money in their pocket. So I was expecting, oh, okay, you know, a few $100s, that might be all right. And maybe, you know, stay a few towns over somewhere, you know, just drive. But no, spending, I think when I actually added up what it would have cost for a weekend with an estimated like food, drinks, et cetera, with lodging and just the ticket price, I mean, I believe it was over 10 grand. So to think about for a full weekend, so to think about 10 grand for a weekend, not very accessible, you know, like $200, $300 for a weekend. Okay. You know, just for the ticket, you could make that work, but, and then figure out lodging and all the rest. And then you just know what you're in for as far as food costs in Aspen. So, but anyway, I think it would be very cool. I think, you know, there are lots of these cool events from Europe, the ice racing, right? There's the ice race in St. Moritz, which is another ski resort. And they do similar on a frozen lake surface. They race vintage cars, rare race cars, you know, very valuable stuff.
I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about for that event lately, just because it's so nice to see these cars that are typically gleaming clean.
Oh yeah,
sitting under
Pebble Beach quality stuff. Yeah,
out and about, being used, not just driven, being raced and used. And it's funny because you can tell the people that are taking it easy on the throttle pedal and the gas pedal. And you can tell the people that are like, I drive this DGAF,
Yep.
like there are some people out there. It's great. It's just great to see these old classic and high dollar cars being used.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure the next day they go right into the detailer for a $2,500 complete cleanup,
Undoubtedly.
But still, you got to give it to the people that take them out and use them.
Undoubtedly. Well, yeah. So we talked about some events. Let me think. Some other events. I mean, personally, one of my favorite events of the summer is always the Ottomezzi, which is all Italian cars, and that's usually up in the last couple of years. That's been in the Wheat Ridge area. I think they've the last couple of years I've been there, they've moved locations a couple times. But this summer was up in Wheat Ridge, and always great stuff, old and new Italian cars. I mean, you can see everything from, sort of more humble Alfa Romeos and Fiats all the way up to, Ferrari 512s. And there's usually there's an F50 that shows up. I believe there's an F40 that shows up. So yeah, all kinds of crazy stuff, Maserati, Lancia, a little bit of everything Italian, and pretty good food, pretty good music as well, live music. I think it could be interesting. Maybe one of the ideas to make it more inclusive. They could have a corral of vehicles that are just named after Italian things, right? So it could be they could have a Beretta Corral, because that's an Italian name. They could have some Nissan Muranos or some Ford Torinos or Capris, right? Those are all cars that have Italian names, but they're not Italian cars. So that could be a funny angle to add some more inclusivity to that event.
That I don't know if I'd ever see my Beretta at an Italian car show. I do like the wordplay there, though.
I don't know. Whoever the organizers are, Caruso Family Charities, hit us up. We have ideas to expand your event, bring more cars. I think this past year, the 2024 event, it was a little bit lightly attended because I think the weather that day, there was a forecast. It was thunderstorms and hail forecast, but for the afternoon. So I think a lot of people just said, nope, I'm not going to risk it. And they decided not to show up. The field looked a little bit thinner than previous years from what I remember, but again, it's a super cool event. And it's like, where else are you going to see, where else are you going to see the, an F40 and an F50? And, I think there's also an Enzo that sometimes shows up. I know Ferrari of Denver, they usually bring some of their new car inventory there. And then, there's classic, all manner of different classic stuff. There's usually one or two Ferrari Dinos that show up. So really, really great opportunity to see really beautiful Italian cars if that's what you're into.
I don't know who's not into beautiful Italian automobiles.
They're works of art, they're visual art, the auditory art, right? The engine notes, they're just beautiful, and appreciating them on a beautiful lawn is a great way to appreciate them without having to own one and actually having to maintain it and deal with how fickle and high maintenance it can be. Like a lot of Italian things.
It's that classic phrase. It's not the purchase price that'll get you, it's the upkeep.
That's right. Like with many Italian things, artwork or wine or whatever it is, they can be very high maintenance and very fickle. And I can say that because I'm Italian American, and so that's okay. But yeah, let's see. Well, I'm just looking at the time as well. I know we have a few other things we did want to cover. So should we move into automotive New Year's resolutions, Ryan?
Yes, and I've thought about this earlier as I was going over our little list of topics for the evening. Man, I got to get off my head. That's my New Year's resolution, automotive related. I got cars in the backyard that we've had a project car for the lady. We've owned it, I think, 4 years. it sat and sat and sat, and then we pick at it and we pick at it and we pick. So like that, we got to get that going for you, babe.
Make some progress on the project. What
I
is it? What's the project car?
oh, it's a 1989 Chevrolet Beretta GT with the digital dash.
Digital dash, nice.
Digi dash, and then we're gonna body kit it, and we're doing a full interior color swap. Like it's going to be her first personal Beretta as we co-own one currently. So, and it's a 5-speed. She loves her 5-speeds. She's driving the one we own together is an auto, and I know it's killing you, babe, but we'll get that other one done. And then
was the digital dash, was that an option or did it come standard in certain model years of Beretta?
An option. It was an option only for certain years. 89 and 90 is the only years you could get that.
Because was it the Chrysler LeBaron? They had that was that like voice, that digital voice thing that told you.
That's right, huh?
It was like the car spoke to you. It said like the door is ajar.
Yeah,
the washer level is low.
Yeah, I used to. It's funny you mentioned that because I used to want one of those so bad. A convertible Chrysler LeBaron.
Mark Cross edition.
So cool. I wouldn't mind having one now, but parts like did that car fall off the face of the earth? I think so. I don't know about that anymore.
Yeah, and then did the Buick Riata, didn't that have a digital dash in the 80s as well?
It may have.
I think that did.
I mean, there were lots. That was the hot thing. Trans Ams, right? Cavaliers. Mine doesn't have it, but I've seen, in like 86, and it shocks me every once in a while to see that, like, some of the digital dash technology that was in cars in like the early 80s, I think even the late 70s.
Yeah.
Don't quote me. Don't blow up the chat, but
that was really futuristic stuff back then. So that was a selling point. And obviously now we take for granted that anyone can go out and get a Tesla or any other EV and have a completely digital.
Yeah. Or just buy a Apple CarPlay or something like that, and you've got a freaking 12-inch screen going on.
Yeah, or some of these new car, like I've seen some of the new like Mercedes S-Class. It's like 3 giant screens. It's crazy.
Or like one swooping, like the 180-degree like Samsung gaming monitor or whatever it is. Like the whole dash goes over like halfway into the passenger side, and it's all your cockpit. Well, that's my one resolution. I have got to get
that project going,
get some autos sorted out, let alone clean the garage and do multiple other things. What about you? What do you got on the list?
Yeah, I think my automotive New Year's resolution is I want to get better at detailing and car cleaning, because I admittedly, as a car enthusiast and someone who loves a clean car and a nice fresh waxed and polished paint, I'm not really always that motivated and good about taking the time and researching all the right products to invest in all the different steps of keeping the finish really nice on my cars. So like I have a pretty basic wash routine that I usually do, but I feel like I could up my game more. So I'm definitely going to be spending more time researching, and I also don't want to break the bank doing it. And also I have a kid and I have a family. I don't have unlimited time. So I want to work out the right sort of weekly or bi-weekly car wash, car care, finish enhancing, preserving combination of products and routine that will get me a good car, good result on my cars, and keep everything well protected, but not cost too much, and I'm not going to spend hours and hours every weekend doing it, which frankly would just not be realistic. So that's my goal, is to research and come up with a car care routine and up that game a little bit more, and make it work for my time and my budget. So
yeah, that's funny. I hadn't even thought of that, but I can hear my girlfriend talking in my ear right now about the hundreds of dollars worth of car detailing products and machinery and polishers that I have that I bought probably over a year ago and have barely touched. So
Well,
I'm
I'll
gonna
come
add
to
that
your
to my
house.
list too. Yeah, I'm gonna check that box as well.
Well, I'm going to come to your house, Ryan, and use some of your stuff. Maybe
Hey,
that'll-
seriously, feel free. Bring it on. I got power washer. I mean, someone moved out of state and he sold me his detailing business supply.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, not
It's-
like I got a lot of stuff,
all right.
and
Well,
I need practice and whatnot. So learning is fun. We can do it together, Jason.
all right. This could be a good project for the show as well. We
Hey,
could,
we
you
can
know,
do
like,
a little before and after.
yeah,
I've been meaning to do some paint correction on the Forerunner for a long time.
the,
So there you go.
yeah. And
Add
it's
it
like,
to the, you know what? I'll add it to the list right now. I'm looking right at it.
there you go. Yeah. And it's like what really made me, think more about it is my wife and I, we bought this Mark 1 Audi TT 2001 Audi TT this summer, and the paint is in really good shape for a 2001. So I was like, well, a lot of the value in this car is going to be how well I preserve the quality of the paint, because so many of those cars have peeling clear coat, and you really have to take care of them, or they're just going to start getting real messed up real quick. And like I drove it a bit this summer. I think we drove it almost 1,500, 1,600 miles. And I did get a couple rock chips on the front bumper. And I just thought, man, I wish I had thought to like PPF it and all that, but I can't go back in time now. So I also don't want it to be, it's not a museum piece. It's a car. I'm going to drive it and enjoy it and do fun stuff with it. So
Mhm.
it's like, like I said, in the realistic constraints of time and money, and the fact that it is a car that we will use and drive and enjoy, I want to get better about making it, keeping it nice and fresh and shiny and all that stuff. So that's my automotive New Year's resolution.
Awesome. We've both of those things that we mentioned can take all damn summer.
That's true. So we'll keep the audience abreast of all of these developments.
Oh God,
we'll
no!
check in and
We'll take a photo of my backyard and we can watch it change over time. Cars come and go.
we'll do a time lapse.
Yeah, of me not back there doing anything. All right. Well, we got that out of here. You want to talk? You want to do a mini market?
Sure, let's do a mini market. Yeah,
Let's pull that one up, and then we'll start wrapping it up, guys. We're almost at an hour here, so we're gonna shoot for that every week. But we've got a couple more things here that I don't want to put off. So
all right,
we're
let
gonna
me share. I'm gonna do the screen share here because I got the old bring a trailer pulled up. All right, let me actually put that in. There you go. You can see that. So this is cold. I have not pre-screened. I have no idea what's going to show up. So let's just check out and see what we have going on here.
For those that are not aware, Jason joined the newsletter team specifically to be a contributor. He hits us. Well, the newsletter goes out at least twice a month, sometimes 3. So we're not going to get into those logistics, but every other week he's got a new article. It's either the Garage Report, that is a small article, for lack of a better term, discussing all things automotive. And then he also does the Market Report for us. And those articles rotate, one after the other as the newsletters go out. The Market Report is him finding the least expensive and the most expensive vehicle for sale here in Colorado, correct?
That's right. Yeah. And then also the Market Report and Garage Report, it's all, since it's for the newsletter, it's all local content. So Garage Report are the local automotive news, what's going on. You know, sometimes it could be, oh, there's a new exhibit at the Forney Museum, right? Or oh, there's this cool new event that we just found out about that we want to, you know, kind of go into more detail about. It could be, oh, you know, Bandimere is finally, there's news, there's been a development about, you know, their next location, right? So it's any of those sort of automotive themed local news and happenings that we write about. And then the market report is, like you said, we're looking at what's the most expensive car, what's the least expensive car, and then what are some cars that are currently available on some of the auction websites like Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, or some things that have recently sold on those auction platforms that were listed in Colorado, right? So it's like, if you are like myself, a lot of us out there, throughout our days, sometimes we just pull up Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, and just kind of just plug stuff in and just kind of scroll through and see what's listed for sale. I always think it's cool to see like, oh, what's local to me, because so many of these cars are in California or Florida or New York, and it's like, okay, well, we're here in Colorado, so I can't actually check out any of those cars if I even wanted to bid on one and see it in person before I bid on it. But just to sort of know like what cool stuff is going on, like what cool stuff is in Colorado right now that's even up for sale. So that's where here, I think like off the bat, I see Saturn Sky with a with a manual, and that's pretty damn cool to me. I mean,
yeah,
that's arguably Saturn Sky and Pontiac Solstice were, I think they were some of the best looking cars that GM made in that period, that mid 2000s, right? I mean, you had Chevy SS that was also very cool, but that was very understated. And they were fun little sports cars. They weren't, you know, super powerful. They weren't super exotic, but they were just really, really fun. And man, yeah, this one's in Lone Tree. It only has 28,000 miles and it's got a 5-speed manual. I think that, and it's dark blue. See, I think right now we're at 4,400 for less than 10 grand, maybe. That's
ends in 2 days. Yay.
Yeah.
That's a, you know, anyone I've ever heard talk about having driven one of those, or like the Saturn Sky and the other one you mentioned, the
Pontiac Solstice.
Yes, that they loved them. They absolutely loved them.
I think,
and they're you know, quote unquote collector, because you just can't. What, they only make this Sky for 2 years?
Yeah, they didn't make it for that many years. I think the Solstice, there's more Solstice production than Sky production. I mean, at the very least, it's the coolest Saturn that was ever made. Like that, at a baseline, we could say it was the best Saturn that they've ever produced. And it was certainly one of the last cool Pontiacs before Pontiac got killed. And yeah, it's just for not a lot of money. It's a cool little convertible car. And sure, you're not going super fast. It's not, you know, it doesn't have super exotic underpinnings or, you know, components. It's just a fun little car. And yeah, I think for not a lot of money, that would be, someone could have a lot of fun with that. Let's see.
So if you buy it, let us know.
Yeah.
Because that right now, hey, you get into that for under 10 grand. Seems like a great deal to me.
I will definitely be keeping an eye on. Actually, while I'm just real quick, I just want to see what Saturn. Because you can check on Bring a Trailer the price trend. Okay, so it looks like a lot of them kind of sell around the 20,000. 15 to 20,000 seems like that's the sweet spot. That kind of gets you. But this is like the red line, which that was the more powerful one. That was like the Solstice had the GXP, and then Saturn had the Sky red line. Okay, yeah. So these are all like red lines. Yeah, interesting.
What is that outlier up there at over 45,000?
Oh, geez, what was that? 6K. Oh, it has a Mallet V8 LS7
Lord.
swap.
Okay, well let's see. What's the other one? There's another one way up there.
What the hell is this? Oh my god. Now that would be a hell of a car to drive. 7-liter LS7 V8. Wow, with a Tremec 6-speed. Cool. In a car that small, that would be fun. This other one, oh, this was also a supercharged Mallet V8 LS7.
There you go. Only a little bit more, and you can have one of these Mallet ones.
I bet those fly that much power in that small, that tiny little wheelbase package. Cause it is a small car. I've never been in a Sky, but I've been in a Solstice. Actually a friend of mine, I have a bunch of friends in the DC area, and we used to go down to North Carolina a lot in the summertime, several years in a row for a beach vacation down on the southern tip of North Carolina. And one year, my buddy and I, we drove, his cousin had a Saturn Sky, he had a Pontiac Solstice. And we drove the Solstice from DC down to North Carolina and back. Wasn't a super comfortable road trip car, and there was not a lot of interior storage at all to put snacks or luggage of any kind. I think we had basically a backpack and a duffel that was pretty much tapped out on luggage capacity, but it got looks. People, I tell you, people, especially kids. I remember we pulled into this barbecue restaurant. We pulled up in the parking lot, and the kids coming out of the minivan next to us, they were like, "What is that? That is so cool." It was like they just saw a Ferrari. I mean, this was North Carolina, so maybe their standard was a little bit different. No offense. But no, it was cool to see a car that's not very valuable or exotic be treated. But these kids, that was the impact that it had on them. And visually, it is a beautiful car. Especially the Solstice, it's very curvy, whereas the Sky is very angular and blocky. So
I looked it up too, and that Sky, all of them are right around 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, so lightweight. Yeah, not too heavy. Okay, well, I'm going to do that one from Bring a Trailer, and then I'm going to transition to Cars and Bids closest to me. Oh, we still have this Z4 M Coupe that's for sale. Now that's cool. This this 98 Mustang SVT Cobra yellow. That, I'm not gonna lie, that's also kind of cool. not I would never drive it, but like objectively that's cool. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. So the Z4. So Steve used to have a Z4, and he loved it. You need to change
the screen or the tab or whatever you're sharing.
Oh shoot! Did I not? Oh! Here we go. We're learning.
Hey.
We are learning things about production.
Hey, I'm surprised at how few learnings we've had. This is going pretty well.
Don't jinx us, right?
Yeah, as the entire world internet crashes after I say that.
Knock on something wooden nearby. Yeah, so this Z4 M Coupe, I mean, Steve, like I said, Steve used to have one. He loved it. I'll admit, in period when these came out, this is an 08. Yeah, 08. Like, so I was in college in 08. Or I guess I just graduated in the summer of 08 was when I graduated. But I remember when these came out, and I remember not loving the design very much at all, and really, really just poo-pooing the car and having a negative impression of the car. But I gotta say, the more I see these cars, and I've seen a bunch of them in person as well, I think they look really great. I think the design's aged remarkably well. And I think it's got a lot of goodies out of a BMW M3, right? Like I think it has the diff, and I think the gearbox from an M3. I mean, it's got the S54 straight six, naturally aspirated. They were all 6-speed manuals. They didn't make the Z4 M Coupe in any sort of automatic transmission, so you had to get it as a manual. I think this is cool. I think with 38,000 miles in reasonably good condition, silver over Imola red interior. Oh yeah, let's get a look at that interior because that is hot.
Ooh,
The
yeah,
Imola
look at
red,
that.
that's hot.
There's
Like
something about red
red-
interiors. I don't know what it is. Like, I love them. I think you either love it or you just absolutely hate it.
I agree. I think it really depends on the shade of red because there's a particular shade of red leather that almost in some shades almost remind me of like the banquette at a pizza restaurant when you were a kid or a diner. You know, it's
walking
almost
into a Pizza Hut. They're
yeah,
glassy.
like that red vinyl. You know what I'm talking about? It almost reminds me of that, but if it's just a little bit darker than that, it's very cool and very sporty. And yeah, I mean those are cool sport seats. Yeah, short throw, 6-speed. And yeah, I mean you can't argue. I mean, what? It's like 330 some horsepower and torque. You got quad exhausts. You got everything that you want out of a BMW. Straight six, rear wheel drive, naturally aspirated. I think I might have to have one of these in the not too distant future. It looks like this one was in a collision at some point. Okay, well, buyer beware. Make sure the frame is straight, right?
Yeah. Insert all disclaimers.
Yeah, right. But no, I
We
would
did not
love
tell you to go buy this car.
No, we certainly didn't. Although if you do buy it and you are local, we would love to drive it. Just to drive. I would love to just drive one. But I have a strong feeling that I would love it, and I have a strong feeling I will want to own one at some point. Yeah, that's just so cool and great. Those are great wheels too. I think those are aftermarket, but that is a great wheel design. Which is always fun to see. Yeah, super cool. All right. Well, I will stop. I'm going to stop sharing that. That's my mini market report is that there are two different philosophy. You have one American coupe, one American convertible, one German coupe, both for sale. Very different flavors, different price points, most likely. But even the Z4M, I mean, that's like a $30-some thousand car, like mid 30,000 all day long. Like those just aren't going to be right now. They're not crazy expensive. For the driving experience, probably very much worth mid 30,000s. I would say that Saturn Sky is probably worth the driving experience is perhaps about 10 to 12 grand. That's probably worth that driving experience. So
we can go buy a Miata for half that.
Yes, and probably have get more in the way of driving dynamics. Or you get that Mallet, one of those Mallet LS7 builds, and you'll be really flying like whoa. So there we go. That should be on our automotive New Year's resolutions. We should try and drive one of those like those flying Miata when they did the V8 kits back in the day.
Oh yeah, I've seen. We're getting into that world, the lady and I.
Yeah,
I'll save that story for another day. But those guys do some pretty crazy engine swaps.
Yeah, I think they only did them for a few years. I don't think they can do them anymore for emissions or whatever it is. But yeah, I've driven like regular Miatas. It would be very cool. It would be very cool to drive a V8 swapped Miata because having that much power and that compact of a package must be really thrilling and mildly dangerous. But
yeah, it very well could be. All right, well, we are getting very close to calling it a day. I want to wrap up with mentioning one more time the numerous ice racing entities that we have that are starting to fire up their events, weather permitting, as we say.
Disclaimer.
Which is funny because we typically promote you to check an event's details before you leave the house, especially in the winter months, because it might have got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess that's the same for this statement that I'm going to make. But usually it's canceled because there's snow, it's cold, it's freezing. Well, these ice racing events rely on that. It needs to be cold and freezing for the ice to get, I forget how thick it needs to be for it to be safe, but for the ice to get thick enough for everybody to run events on. So again, check the event details. Don't just drive up I-70 thinking you're going to run when the lake is still water, because sadly it's happened. I've seen the R Gang guys cancel multiple events because it's just too damn warm.
Yeah.
Which is nutty. But we'll start right here with the newest kid on the block, the Arcticana group. Again, they've been around for a couple of years. If you want, you can obviously check out their website here. You can check them out. They've been posting a lot in the Colorado Rallycross group on Facebook as they have events coming up. I still have my old calendar on the wall. I believe their first event is coming up on the 18th. But it's listed in the newsletter that just went out this evening, so you'll see that there.
Always check the newsletter.
That's where you get the info. Let's see if this smoothly transition. It did not smoothly transition over to the next one. We'll work on that one. We've got the Our Gang crew, OurGangIceRacing.com. Pretty easy. Again, all of their events, your vehicle must be four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive to attend and participate. They do fun days every once in a while. They do crazy things with these ice racing Jeeps, of which I got to drive one a few times once, and it was insane. I mean, imagine a Jeep, an old Jeep frame with like a Chevy 350 crammed into it, and like that's it. That's it right there. It's engine and wheels.
That's
I got
great.
down and my face was so cold because it was throwing roosters up of ice shavings into my, oh man.
Yeah.
On the stutter, on the cheater tires and everything.
Nice.
And last but not least, no, that's not the button I want.
Yeah, I have to check out this. It's like when you're in Colorado, things you have to do, right? Like you have to spectate Pikes Peak at least once in person just to have that experience. And then like ice racing, right? That's another very Colorado thing to experience.
We also have the RMC, BMW, CCA, a very long, shortened name. And they do their own ice racing as well. I have not been to one of these events. I'm told that you don't have to have a BMW.
No, they're pretty, and we know some folks at the RMC BMW CCA, so maybe we could even get a little ride along or drive one of their cars. I'm sure we could talk to them, but we have connections with the RMC and the BMW Car Club of America. But yeah, certainly there are many great BMWs that would be a hell of a lot of fun to drive on the ice. And yeah, certainly I'm sure non-BMWs welcome in certain instances as well.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it. We got a couple more bits and pieces of things to say. Oh, I don't know if you noticed. You probably didn't. I was going to say it. You were in the middle of speaking, and I didn't want to just jump in too hard.
It's okay.
Production lessons learned. I shut off the audio looping.
Oh.
And then hit for our intro, and then I hit play. So we got like 30 seconds worth of that night driving theme. I turned it on, I don't know, like 10 minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I've registered.
We're gonna try to remember that one. I don't know if you can hear those soothing sounds in the background, but that's our wonderful royalty-free music we've picked. Anybody that's got music out there, hey, maybe we'll work with you.
And that's the great thing. The great thing about this show is, if we don't get canceled, and if we continue on, the more sponsorships come in and the more advertising comes in, it'll give us more opportunity to do cooler stuff on the production side of things. Steve was gracious enough to gift us with this audio kit and gear. So thank you for that, Steve, to get us started up and running. But yeah, we can do more with audio and with audio effects, something akin to like one of those morning DJ radio show soundboards. There are things like that we can purchase and subscribe to.
Oh boy. It makes me think of like a Family Guy episode. I think that it was Dewey and Brian had their own show, and it was full of like clunk and like and sirens and noises, and yeah, they had at it. I don't know if we'll go that far, but
well, there's a lot of cool stuff we can do, provided there's some sponsorship revenue to pay for all of that. Because Lord knows you and I aren't paying for it from our pockets, and Steve tapped out already buying us all this. So
yeah, I mean, as you can see, we're both at home. That's my kitchen. No one's gonna say anything about the muffler sitting on my stove. Come on, I thought that was great. I mean, maybe you can't tell because it's so back there, but
I'm going to take a wild guess, Ryan. It's a Chevy Beretta muffler.
It is. It's from a Z26.
Oh, okay. High performance.
All right. Yeah. Before we get onto any other tangents, let's once again thank where to go, Bill Levasseur, for setting us up with that wonderful intro.
Thank you, Bill. And we will definitely have him on.
We look forward to doing more with you. We're going to have him on to talk about it, and look forward to doing a couple more fun, creative intros. We settled with the one we have now, but he recorded a few of them for us, and we'll come up with kind of like the Simpsons do it. They only changed that last little piece when they hit the couch. It's because they didn't want to have to remake the entire intro every time. So we'll probably just change where we're live from, something fun each time. And then if you have anything you would like to see us discuss, if you would like to be a guest on the show, if you have an automotive event, a car show, a swap meet, something coming up, if you want to send an email and let me know how good my hair looks and how well lit Jason's head is,
how shiny my head is,
you can send that you can send anything you want to downshift@coloradocarsandcoffee.com. I'm going to throw it out there as well. If you have anything that has to do with our newsletter, it's as easy as newsletter@coloradocarsandcoffee.com. Once again, we will put some links. I'll put some links in the chat sections for these live streams concerning the newsletter and whatnot, so you can make sure to be sub to that. And you can read that. You don't have to listen to us, which is kind of nice. And we only do this once a month. So the newsletter comes out twice a month. And I'll throw out one more plug for our Instagram account, which every Thursday I actually post a list of all the coming events for that weekend. So if you are not in the know, now you know how to get in the know.
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. And with that, I guess that's it. Jason, did you have any shout outs, anything you needed to sign off with?
No, I think, just follow the newsletter, read Shift Magazine, subscribe to all of our socials, follow us, like us, subscribe to us. And yeah, we're going to keep, like you said, Ryan, we're going to keep doing this once a month. Definitely, I think towards the beginning of the month to me makes sense, because when we have, especially once we get into the spring and the events really start popping and they're really happening and the calendar starts to get packed, then we'll have a lot of stuff to kind of preview for, here's what's coming up, and here are some things that you should maybe put on your calendar or set reminders for yourself to attend potentially if you're interested in those events. Who knows? We may end up doing bonus episodes every once in a while if we both have if our schedules align and time and fortune prevail. We may end up doing occasional bonus episodes. We may eventually exit the confines of our domiciles and venture out into the world and record in person and potentially have other people involved in that in-person meetup at a separate destination that isn't our homes. So there are a lot of things that we have, a lot of ideas that we have, a lot of things that we could potentially be doing in the future. So stay tuned and follow us, like us, subscribe to us, That's all I got, Ryan. And I thank anybody. We had a few people watching. I think we started with 6 and we ended with 4. So
I think at one point we had like 8. So
we did.
We're getting there. Thank you to everyone that did tune in. I know personally a few of who you are. Let's hope we can get some replay out of this on some of our socials and whatnot. And yes, we'll be taking a look at the comments section to see what all you've had to say and make fun of us. So
Steve says he sees the muffler.
yeah, he said maybe I didn't make it apparent enough. The next time I'll do something a little more flashy. I see how it's blending in.
No, it's good. It's like a Where's Waldo? It's where's the Beretta part?
Find the mystery part in the background. Yeah.
Find the mystery part. It's probably going to be a Beretta part. Spoiler alert.
All right. Well, that's
All
it.
right.
This is Ryan, and that's Jason.
And I'm
apparently,
Jason.
We're signing off. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate those who watched, especially those who watched for the whole duration.
Yeah. Thanks for putting up with us.
Yep. Ciao. See you next time.